Welcome to Somerset Roundtable. I'm John Rothwell and I'm joined by my co-host Holly McNamara. Our show is a spin-off to the Positively Somerset Facebook page. The intent of the show is to communicate, inform, and highlight all things happening in town, as well as discussing local events and issues, and allow citizens, businesses, owners, nonprofits, and town department heads to have a voice. Now over to my co-host Holly, who will introduce our guests and show topic.
Thanks, John. Today we have with us Coach Kim Ferrara. Ferrara, F-E-R-R-E-R-A, not Ferrara.
Yeah, Italian Ferrara, Portuguese Ferrara. Depends.
Kim is the founder of WiggleKids, founded in 2000 or started in 2011, and then eventually formed a 501c3. They're based out of Swansea, but they're very much affiliated with Somerset and surrounding towns. And so I think your 4-year anniversary was June 11th?
That was the anniversary of the very first class at our studio.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're coming up on 5 years from the very first class,
the
so
2011.
to speak. Yeah, the 2011.
Right, at the studio.
But the studio was a big deal, so that was our anniversary date at the mall.
Excellent. So if you could just tell us a little bit about how you started, and I mean, it's a really interesting story. It started off of a request for help, right?
It did. Gosh, back in 2011, I was still working at Teamworks here in Somerset, and I was a youth fitness instructor there because I had a little one taking classes there, and I was that crazy mom sitting on the sidelines because my child wouldn't participate. So sitting eating goldfish, watching everybody. So we start playing, and then the kids that are in class are starting to come over to me and play with me, and now the coach in the middle of the field's kind of looking at me like, you want to just work here? Because you really should just be out here playing with the kids. So I got a job there. And in my tenure there, I'd really enjoyed working with the kids. And a friend was on the rec commission and asked if I would help create a toddler program for the rec department, which I was thrilled to do. Because in the back of my mind, I'd been teaching a lot of kids over those couple of years over at Teamworks and saw that not all kids fit into that model of sports and the skills required for sports. Sports are phenomenal. They're just not for everyone. So kind of just sat in the back of my mind, and so I came up with a little healthy habit and fitness class, and left Teamworks on very good terms. I'm still great friends with them over there. They do a phenomenal job with their program, and I went over to the rec side, and we started running it out of the old town hall. And I have pictures of when that started, and it's so funny because I look back on them and I look at how little they are and how big the kids have gotten. But we ran 8-week classes over there. And
what is the healthy fitness?
So when it started, it was 8 weeks, and every week was a different theme. So it was wash your hands, go to bed on time, read a book, brush your teeth. And I kind of just played games that had to do with that. And we'd do a coloring sheet at the end, and I had a little gift for them, like a toothbrush or a book for bedtime. And it really started out as a very intro, small, healthy habits for little kids type of thing. WiggleKids was actually a toddler program when it started. And then at the same time I was running that, what is now Airtime Foundation, used to be Somerset Air. And they were run by Teresa Abrams, and she asked me if I would do a sort of same type of program, but for bigger kids that might need more of an inclusive program. And we ran that out of the senior center. And we had 15 kids in that class. It was great. It did really, really well. And then the light bulb started off like, oh my God, this could really work with the bigger kids. And it's working really well with kids who are of all ability levels across the board. Because we had some kids that had more adversity than others, and it didn't matter. You couldn't tell because everybody was having a good time together, which was really cool.
It's important.
I mean, just things the way they kind of transpired along the way. It was tough to get more time and space in the buildings in town and consistency across the board. And so I just happened to go over to the mall and say, hey, listen, do you have a spot every Saturday morning for an hour I can rent out to run a little class? And they said, take a whole space, we'll work with you. And so the fact that they did not make me stay open the mall hours, and they made my rent according to the hours I was open, which was great to get started. I was able to actually move the whole thing over there so I could keep consistency for the kids. And so we called the business WiggleKids and made a Wiggle Tots class. We ran an air class and then 2 others that I'd come across. And so we opened the studio with 4 classes. That was it.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it went from Somerset to Swansea, just because of
location,
space and availability. Yeah.
Where were you in the town hall? How did that work?
On the side of the building, the little white town hall, like literally just went in there, swept the floors, the little white old town hall. Yeah. It was
Wow.
It was kind of cute, but
That's
the old
cool.
hardwood floors, and I tip all the tables on their sides so the balls wouldn't roll anywhere. And the parents sat in little folded chairs that were
Yeah,
lined up, and
yeah.
it worked. It really
Yeah.
worked. I mean, to get started, it worked.
You worked with what you had, and,
Yeah.
and it's paid
Yeah,
off.
and the rec department helped me the way we did the little sign-ups and everything. It worked out pretty
You
well.
sound very resourceful.
Oh, you have to be. Made all my own equipment, made all my own
Wow.
signs, like really.
No way.
Yeah, and then as I started, I said, you know what? My husband and I decided we invested a little of our own money to buy scooter boards and
Right.
balls and nets and parachutes and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm that crazy lady that rents U-Haul vans with 30 hippity hop balls in the back showing up everywhere. But which we just did, and we do every year at Ruggles Park for city
Yeah.
recreation. I mean, it's crazy.
So what are the hours in Swansea again?
It's on our class schedule, so still to this day they don't make us stay open them all hours, which is phenomenal because it would be kind of crazy to have a gym where there's nothing going on to have someone sitting there with the lights on. So they've been
Right.
very accommodating. During the day while the kids are at school, we teach adults that have disabilities that come with their private day hub groups. So those are private, they're not open to the public, but it still gives us a great way to use the space and service a need. And then we have a membership, kind of like a regular gym. So in the evenings from 5 to 8 at night, Monday through Thursday, there's all different kinds of classes going. And because we've expanded over the years, we have 3 different rooms that run stuff. We have a full sensory room with ball pit. I hate to say it, but it's the coolest thing ever. Everybody,
What exactly is in a sensory room?
Okay, so a lot of the students that come visit us, and I don't collect data because we're a recreational facility, but from what parents have informed us of and let us know so that we can make their child have a more successful time there, we kind of know that about 75% of the students, teens, adults, whatever, have some type of diagnosis or special adversity they're trying to overcome, or exceptionality, I want to say.
Right.
You know, if you walked in and watched a class, you might be able to tell a couple, but most often you can't. It's just stuff that, again, a lot of people have stuff hidden that we don't know about that
Right.
they're struggling with, and so just the way we teach
Yeah.
helps that. A sensory room gives them that space to go to if they're struggling a little bit with being overwhelmed during class.
Okay.
So kids or adults that have, or teens have sensory integration issues, they will submerge themselves in a ball pit and it gives them that feeling of comfort. I built an igloo out of 500 milk jugs.
Wow.
You were building that the last time I talked
I
to you.
have built it 3 times. We built it in one room and moved it, and it didn't go so well, so we had to rebuild it. The kids love it. They hide in there. It's full of pillows. There's lights. They kind of check it out. It gives them a little
Oh,
space
that's
of
nice.
comfort. There's a big patio swing. I have pillows that look like rocks in all different shapes, but they're weighted down with bean bags inside, so they pressure. Just little bins of potato head pieces and race car tracks and just things that it's a quiet space. There's a lot of stuff that they can fidget with and play with to kind of get their energy out. And then they can come right back to class if they want. A lot of kids use it before and after class. So it's a great kind of downtime room.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
I was just over at Community Connections, so you work
Oh,
with them
yeah.
a lot, right?
Yep.
And they just opened their sensory garden.
Yes.
Or I think, yeah, they called it a garden. And
Yep.
so
It's
similar, in a
beautiful.
similar fashion, I guess that's what they're trying to achieve is they have the
Absolutely.
swings and it was peaceful and they had
Well,
a
it's-
fountain. And,
Toddlers love it and need it,
Yeah.
whether they have a diagnosis or not. All
Right.
toddlers need that exploration so that they can, you know, develop those senses as they're growing up. A lot of us forget that, and it's such a crazy statistic that 50% of the growing that your body and brain does happens before the age of 2. First 2 years of your life, you do 50% of your developing. Then the rest of your life is spent doing the other 50%. So that's a huge amount going on in those little guys' bodies and brains, and
yeah.
so you
didn't
wonder
know
why
that.
your kids are like, oh my God, they won't follow directions. But listen, I think it was Jerry Seinfeld that said having a 2-year-old is like having a blender without a lid. Like, I'm not kidding. Right there, and so we call it herding cats. Like,
Yeah,
we
herding
just,
cats
it's
that you
all we do, right?
Yeah.
But it's a safe environment. Nobody stresses out about it. We keep inviting them back. They eventually come in. We figure out some kids are just bouncing off the walls. It's not because they're rambunctious and they don't want to behave. It's because their body's trying to find its place in space and it just doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
So that's the day we're going to roll them on the floor and we're going to wrap them up in things and we're going to do the games that fit what's going on. And all of a sudden their parents are like, oh my God, they follow directions so well today. And it's like, because we did games
Yeah.
that made it nice and comfy for
And
them in
focused.
their
Yeah.
environment. So
Right.
Right.
that's what we're about. We're about observing what the behaviors are of the kids and just designing the games around it, and they have no idea. They just think they're there having fun, and we kind of know.
How did you learn about all of this? What's your
Trial and error.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say, and friends, networks of friends, being close to airtime, having friends with kids that have autism. I've learned a lot. I have a lot of friends that are occupational therapists, speech therapists. Crazy mom. I mean, just having kids, you start figuring out one really likes to smear pudding all over the place and one won't touch her mac and cheese. Like they're
Right.
just, you know, we think about that. Do you like it when your nails are scratched on a blackboard?
Right.
You could
No.
say you have sensory issues. Like
Yeah.
I think we all live on that spectrum somewhere.
Yeah, I would
It
agree
just-
with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just being observant of those things and making little accommodations for it. And that's, I tell my coaches all the time, it's not what we're doing. You can teach red light, green light all day long. It's how you teach it. You know, do it in a way that makes everybody in the room comfortable.
And you're engaged
So-
with them.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
we put that out on our website and everything a lot. It's like it's about active engagement, making sure that whatever we're doing, it won't be boring to anybody if they all participated in some way, shape, or form. It won't be too much for anybody. It's just right as long as everybody had their piece in it.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, it's
Very
been an
interesting.
adventure. It really
Yeah.
has. It's been fun.
So, where else do you travel? You said you had traveled a bit.
The calls are coming from further and further away. I'm not gonna lie. We
yeah, 'cause
started
you're not
local.
just in Swansea. You go remote.
Yeah. It's funny. We started out Swansea, Somerset, Fall River, quite a bit in Fall River. As I was opening my studio, I was doing the 21st Century After School program in the Fall River area. Partners for Healthy Communities very strong with us. Healthy City, Fall River. So, you know, trying to get our name out there and give back to communities in need. We did a lot of work out there. Now we're traveling. I'm going out to Bourne.
Wow.
Providence, where else are we going? Dartmouth, Freetown, Rehoboth. We do all the South Coast Educational Collaborative locations. We just booked classes with the Southeastern Massachusetts Educational Collaborative. They come to us. Places, and it's interesting, places that run kids programs like Kid Incorporated down in Dartmouth, they come to us for a field trip every year. Which I find odd, but I don't know. Like I think it's so cool that
That's
another
awesome.
kids organization books a field trip to come to
Yeah.
my kids organization.
Right.
So it's a really kind of a neat thing that we've been able to partner. The Children's Workshop, they're a franchise, so they're all over the place. So we've been coming and going with them. So it's nice that we've been able to partner with a lot of other schools and organizations. Yeah, I just finished up 3 days at North Elementary doing Drums Alive
right.
with 300 kids.
Wow. Yeah.
Did their field day, and now all the other schools. You know, Gardner and Swansea I've done. Brown I did last week. Because our programs actually do have an academic element, so the schools really like it.
Oh, how is that?
So the cardio drumming program, Drums Alive, it's now called Drumtastic, but it was formerly called Academic Beats. And it's a big box kit that has a manual of over 100 lesson plans K through 8 that meet all the national core standards for math, science, music, ELA, I mean everything. But it's kinesthetic learning, it's moving them around. So they're drumming out their math problems, or I'm giving them pictures with sight words. This morning I had kindergartners, I held up the words circle, rectangle, spiral, oval, wave, infinity, and they were guessing them right away, had sticks with scarves and were drawing the shapes of the sight words I was holding up while listening to the beat of the music. It was the craziest mind-blowing thing. 5 and 6 year olds, they did amazing. And their teachers were all like, it was so odd. They weren't running around.
Learning by association too. That's maybe part of it.
Well, they've been
right?
learning their sight words all year, but what I found interesting is I have a kindergartner. I really didn't think spiral, infinity, wave, but they had learned enough of their words and they knew that those were occasional things that they had seen or heard, and they could sound out the letters, and all I did was flip it around and show them a picture of what a spiral or what a wave looks like, and they were
Wow.
yeah, so
Oh,
there's
I'd
a
love to
whole
see
academic
it.
element. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So, and then 5th graders, it was a memory game. I would give them a number on a colored card, and they'd drum out a pattern I taught them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
And then I stopped showing them, put the music on, and I'm holding up the numbers, and they had to remember the patterns. Then I flipped the card. There's no number anymore. It's just the color. Well, their brain had been trained to remember the number.
Yeah.
So when you flip it and there's no number, but it's the same card, same color,
Yeah.
they were like, had to retrain the brain again, you know? So it's all that kind of stuff that teaches them focus and concentration.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah, and they loved it. They were begging for more. They want me to sign up for next year. So what better thing to see kids begging for more learning on the last day of school?
But they don't even realize.
They didn't even realize
that's the best part.
So that was kind of cool. Their teachers were really excited. It was getting their energy out. They were all hyper because it's last week, and they were still learning right up until last minute.
So what about your volunteers and also your employees? Tell us, where do they come from and who are they?
Yeah, we've been very lucky that Somerset Berkeley Regional High School has given us some fantastic coaches. I want to think.
Students, right?
Students, students. Sophomores to seniors. We've had a couple start at 15. They got their working papers from the town hall, certain hours they can work, and stayed with me right up through their senior year. So one or two of them have been with me a while. And then I think right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 right now, and a 5th one starting in the fall when he turns 15. Like, he's already on the books waiting because his sister just graduated and he wants in.
Yeah.
I have a high school student from Bristol Plymouth High School who lives in Dighton. I have a couple moms, trying to think. It's across the board. It's really across the board. Like, so it's not all high school kids. We do have a few that have specific skills that it's interesting when you see the kids, because having a teenage coach and teenage students, they look at them as peers.
Yeah.
And then someone like me who's a mom has that like alpha dog, just kind of give the kids the look and they smell it. They're like, okay, Coach Kim. So it's interesting to see the high school kids find their voice.
Right.
They have to command authority in a room. They have to learn how to
Right.
public speak. They have to keep class management and recognize all those things in their students, and they've done amazing. Just watching them grow over the
Right.
years has been crazy.
Well, and that kind of ties into what we were talking about before, the unified track program that they started at the high school, and similar kids. It's the same.
All my high school kids that came from Summit are all involved in it, so I couldn't be prouder.
That's so
I really couldn't
awesome.
be prouder. As a matter of fact, we were talking earlier, one of my coaches now just got approval to run the Drums Alive as an after-school club for the unified track kids in their off-season, because they don't have a club of their own. So this will be the first time. So we're really excited about that. Yeah, WiggleKids is going to support them with that, because if this one coach that has taken the charge falls sick or has a schedule conflict, we want to be able to send coaches in our place to make sure it continues.
Right.
So
that's great.
Sustainability. We don't want that stuff going away. So.
Absolutely.
But they all come to us for volunteer hours too. All those high school kids that need
right.
volunteer hours to graduate. Yeah, I got to tell you. We were laughing about this. The floors at WiggleKids have never been so clean the week before graduation, because they're all calling me at the last minute. I need 2 hours. I need an hour. I'm like, come on. Plenty of stuff to organize, clean, wash, teach, help, whatever. Like, we had fun doing, so it worked out.
I can't remember how many hours they need. It's something
20 total, I think.
Okay.
All 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I wish it was 20 a year, but
Yeah.
only because I benefit really well. They have a
Not
blast
many.
and I could use the help. But,
Right.
but it's not a lot, and they all seem to do pretty well with it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I'm going to throw them in and make them teach a class.
Right.
So they really get to come and just help support, and that's fun. Like, you're out there just helping engage and support the kids and help us organize and clean up before and after. So it's a good gig. It's a good volunteer.
And you have birthday parties too, right?
Yeah, birthday parties have become very popular, especially for those kids who cannot have parties in those big bowling alleys and bouncy house places
too
that are
loud.
open. Yeah, so it's a private party just for them, and all those activities are tailored just
It's
for
all
them.
right there. Yeah.
Not that, I don't like using the word normal, typical, neurotypical, whatever.
Yeah.
Like your everyday, I don't know what the right word is. I hate to use that.
It's
but
like a custom party.
it works for all abilities. So
Yeah.
we've had kids that are complete, sports nuts, love to do it, and then we have kids that have a challenge with other places, and it works out really well. So we teach classes on trampolines. We teach those hippity hop ball classes, scooter board classes. They're zipping around and bouncing all over. They're having a good time.
And it sounds like you've grown so much. And you said you were growing at what rate?
50% a year.
That's
We opened
huge.
with 4 classes, and I think we're up to 22.
Wow.
Plus in-studio field trips. So we have schools that get grants that will bring the kids to us as their community outing.
Okay.
Every week, every month, every quarter, however they
Right.
get the grant worked out. Hoyle did that last year in Swansea. Westport Middle did that once a month last year. And they've come to us like randomly, one off, two off, because PTO's paid for it. But like there have been schools that have gotten it on a regular basis.
Right. And tell us a little bit more about the different classes, the specific. You have yoga and then the Drums Alive you mentioned.
They're not like anything you've ever found anywhere
I'm
else.
so curious.
I will tell
I've never
So we just added, I'm going to think in my head like Monday through Thursday so I can like think, get them all in there. But we just added a class called Netapalooza, for lack of a better crazy name. It's all net games. So we have this round net that like the net lifts up in the bottom, and we have a regular badminton net. We use pool noodles and balloons and little birdies and badminton rackets and tennis rackets and fly swatters and you name it, beach balls. And we just teach all different types of teamwork, cooperative net games. So all different ways to play messy backyard or teach badminton or tennis or, just challenges with yourself or with a partner or, we've done it with jellyfishing like SpongeBob. They got to run in with their nets and scoop jellyfish and bring them back. So it's just all different types of games.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's not tennis. It's anything with a net and a balloon,
Right.
Hippity hop, the jumping beans, where you're jumping on those hippity hop balls.
Oh, yeah.
Just haven't done that since you were 5.
Right?
Yeah.
I want one.
I've been doing it. Oh my goodness, it is the most fun ever. We have so much fun with that. And what kids don't realize, it's really good for their core, for their balance, for their legs.
I don't think I could do it right now.
The first night I taught that class 4 years ago, I'm laying in bed and I'm looking at my husband going, what was I thinking? Like, I can't move. You condition very quickly. And that's why I have high school kids that work for me.
That makes sense.
As I get older, they can keep doing this.
Yeah.
But the kids love it. And what I've heard is that kids that come once a week that are on those 504 plans for core strength because they can't sit still in their chair, all of a sudden they're coming off of those because they have core strength now.
Oh, good.
They don't need their little bubble seat anymore because they can hold themselves steady. So, again, those hidden benefits that we
Did you even anticipate?
Didn't design it for that. We're not a medical facility. We're not a therapy facility, but
You're
it's
a gym.
amazing how exercise builds stronger, healthier bodies.
It's yielding so much more than you expected.
Yeah.
So
Same thing with what's after that, the rebounding. We call them trampolines because everybody knows what a trampoline is, but trampolines are like launch, like Sky Zone.
Yeah.
The rebounders are those little round ones that you get for your living room.
I used to love
so we
those.
put 15 of them out, and everybody gets their own.
And
we do music and games on those.
That's fun.
Again, my calves were not loving me. First week,
No way.
45 minutes on one of those things. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, what game can we play sitting on them? They're a workout.
I paid for an hour at Sky Zone and regretted the first 10 minutes. Like, why? I have to go a whole hour?
It's hard. But you know what I love? Now that we've been there 4 years, we have the stories that, 2 years ago, I would have never thought, 3 years. Now we've got these stories we can tell. I had students that we had to keep the safety bar on them because they just couldn't stand on them. Right. Now they're the kids. We don't put safety bars on anything anymore. They're up in front of the class, jumping on one foot, teaching everybody. Your balance, their coordination came really
Practice,
quick.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? And now we've expanded that for the 3 to 6 year olds and then the big kids. So we teach it for all ages. We have an open gym block where we teach just playing with each other. Doesn't matter. It depends who shows up that night. It's up to coach's discretion. We have life-side board games. We have hula hoops and jump ropes and whatever they want to do. We have Jenga that stands this tall and giant Connect 4.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Yeah, life-size chess and checkers and just stuff to get them interactive. None of this, right? Actually talk to somebody and play a game. But an active game. It's life-size, so you got to move around.
Yeah.
Our yoga classes are interesting. They are nothing short of hilarious.
Why is that?
Because I am not, as you can tell, I'm not at a loss for words, and I will not sit quiet and meditate.
I actually have a hard time in yoga too. I get it. I totally understand.
I am certified as a laughter yoga leader, so we incorporate laughing yoga into our class.
How do you?
Kid you not? You'd be fantastic at it.
I was still laughing. Yeah. How do you?
There's no yoga poses. It's all breath work and exercise. And you say, okay, we're going to. There's a chant and a hand clap that goes with it. Get the blood flow going, and then we have little cards. We're gonna laugh like we're all on a cell phone, and we just laugh. The kids love it.
That's so funny.
Because it's scripted laughter that they're not going to get in trouble for laughing hearty, deep, and loud, but they don't realize the work their diaphragm's getting and the breath control and self-control because they have to be able to stop when I tell them to stop. And
right.
It's hilarious. I'm crying when I'm doing class. It's great. So we incorporate that into our yoga classes here and there. So if I just have a class that's completely unruly and they're not settling down, I'm not putting them in downward dog and cloud, but we're going to do laughing yoga for the night. Yeah. So you just never know when you walk in what you're going to get. It could be a night where everybody's chill and we do yoga, and if they're not, we laugh. So, and we do that for the little guys all the way up. So that's fun. Even our adults. Scooter board class. Little classes with the boards with the wheels. Yeah. 45 minutes zipping around. We just hand out licenses at the door. Here you go. Yeah. But we play
That's
volleyball
so
and
cool.
tennis and hockey on
Right.
the scooter
Yeah.
boards, and we
Yeah.
do all kinds of races and games and challenges and music, and
So do you have any events coming up, or are you just consistently
we are
putting
just
on the
booked
classes
solid
and- yeah.
out in the community. And then our membership at the studio is like our consistent stuff that we do all the time. And then Saturdays are jamming all the time with the Drums Alive classes, the yoga and all that, the little guys. The toddler class that we started with, we still offer on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's still on the schedule. And then Saturday afternoons and Sundays is all birthday parties, if we have them booked, which we usually do. And then it's just going out and doing the events.
Right.
Last year we did 18, and I thought that was a lot. This year we have 25, and I'm still waiting on 2 confirmations. Like, it's every year it's like growing and growing and growing. We're thinking of taking more space at the mall, and we want to open another location.
That's
soon.
great, and it's good for the mall, and you bring more people in.
They
and
love it.
Good for the community.
I don't know about anybody else
Yeah.
in that mall because they're all
Yeah.
complaining it's so quiet. I love it. I love that they
Everyone
don't
will
bother
be
me.
laughing now.
I'm making all the noise in the
Right.
world, and yeah, I mean everybody comes out of my place happy. We bring all these people in. They go shopping while the kids are taking
Good.
class. I mean, so the mall's been phenomenal for us. I can't thank them enough because without their generosity and willingness to let us grow, we would never be able to get started. It's tough opening a business. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yep.
We were lucky going for the nonprofit. You mentioned that earlier. That helped us a lot.
Oh, good.
You know, the only thing the nonprofit allows us is that we can fundraise and we can apply for grants.
Okay.
So we don't always have to be worrying about raising our prices to cover costs or charging everybody and their
excellent.
brother. So we can keep our prices reasonable to pay all the
I
bills.
see.
I still have to pay taxes. I still have to pay, you know,
Right.
payroll. I still have to pay rent and real estate. I still have to pay that like everybody else. We're a corporation.
Right.
The only thing is just the way our money is taken in as a nonprofit. We don't have to pay like taxes on the revenue, just like any other 501c3.
Right.
So that's nice. More of it goes right down to the programming. We don't
Oh,
have to
that's
use
great.
it to pay, you know, fees like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm taking a paycheck for the very first time in 4 years. I mean,
Wow.
Wow.
So it was, you know, for the first 3.5
Commendable.
years of this, I did it.
You really care.
Yeah. And you know what? I
Completely
would never
invested.
change it.
Yeah.
It was the right decision, and we're helping a lot of kids, a lot of adults. We're
Excellent.
getting calls from everywhere. So.
Excellent. Well, how do
excited.
people get in touch besides stopping by?
Yeah, and it's well, I know, and that can be tricky because
Yeah.
if you stop by when we're not running a class, the gates
True.
are closed, so we don't want to discourage anybody. The website probably is the best, or call. And funny, I don't know that I want to say this out loud, but people are figuring this out. The phone number for the business is my cell phone. So
Okay.
just because I don't want it going to an empty studio,
Yeah.
but it is.
Yeah.
So you can text it, you can call me and ask questions, or the website, our contact us page, it goes
Okay.
right into my personal email. I have it all set up
Oh,
so I
great.
can answer on the fly.
Great.
Which all the time.
Great.
We have a Facebook page. So,
Okay.
yeah, all that good social media stuff. Everybody knows social media
Excellent.
these days, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Twitter. I don't know that I'm real good with the Twitter stuff, but it's
That's
there.
okay.
It's there. I don't have time for
It's still
Twitter. I gotta assign one of my high school kids that job.
Yeah,
right?
Well, good. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
thank
was
you.
awesome.
You good? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Um,
And I really
we're
want
glad.
Somerset to know that we're really trying to give back. We're trying to get involved with
Yeah.
the Council on Aging, and we're doing a program with the library, and
That's
we're
great.
trying to get more involved in that stuff and give back. But we
Great.
don't want people to think because we're over the town line that we're not
Right,
still
you're
trying
still
to do
here.
things here. So absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. We need to come together as a town and act as one. We need to collaborate to move forward. We need to help to keep each other informed so that we can make educated decisions for our town. Please reach out to us if you have any ideas or guest ideas for the show. We would love to hear from you. Visit our website, somersetroundtable.com, or email us at info@somersetroundtable.com. Thank you.